what kind of shifts would that have in like not just the family dynamic, but in the labor dynamic of having that shift away from the male breadwinner model?
Sir? Yeah. The similar question, the same line. I just want to understand because Mr. Cherin has, gave a very wonderful presentation about his demand and struggle to get the old age pension, and that is true. Government are not being guaranteed. How we are going ahead with this whole basic income debate? I mean, there are a lot of struggles around the country. The whole question of the political economy and bargaining with the basically state. And there are a lot of debates about the state's accountability on strengthening the public services, etc., etc., etc. And I'm just failed to understand, maybe some of you can enlighten the entire House, if government is failed to negotiate on the basic question, the old age pension, and that too coming from the political analysis of these 90% people of the unorganized sector, they contribute to GDP, there's so many analyses, 55% GDP contribution comes from the unorganized sector. When it comes to the contribution and saying the social security, it is minimum very 2%, 3%. And other side, you see there's a huge financial deficit, huge illegal financials basically going out of the country. I think the last one is like $50 billion, more than 5%. And in that situation, how we can guarantee this? I mean,
that is a big question. Who going to fund that? Okay, I'm going to take that one and ask the panel.
Again, a question to Mr. Cherin. Thank you very much for a very fascinating presentation. My question is that, my understanding of what you said is that there's a general abdication of responsibility by the government towards the elderly. In that situation, merely transferring whatever, whether it's 2,000 or 300 or 500 or whatever is the sum, would that help? Because in the case of the elderly, there are very specific needs. There are needs for institutional care support, there are needs for hospital care and health care. There are certain things which the elderly need which others don't need in the same intensity as they do. So unless we also sort of address those issues, and which at present doesn't seem to be what's happening with the government, would it help to merely transfer the money to them?
Okay, that brings back the question of cash plus services, which also the presenter on the elderly people also mentioned very clearly. Should I open now, or you want to go ahead, please?
I actually didn't have a question. I just wanted to ask Rahul, and wanted to mention to Rahul it would be very good to document and study what you'll be doing. And we did have a methodology in the Madhya Pradesh cash transfers, which was both quantitative as well as qualitative. So if you'd like to look at that methodology and pick out what you want.
You would like you to help us to
There's a call right there. We're looking for you. Any ideas, suggestions?
Yeah, I think it's a good plan.
Yeah,
I'd like to follow up what Renan has just said. Put bluntly, I strongly recommend you not to follow the give directly methodology, because you're giving a capital sum, in effect. And a capital sum has what we call in economics a weakness of will effect. That even the best of us, if you suddenly get a lump sum, you might waste it. Whereas if you pay it a regular, smaller amount over the 2 years, you will have a better model. But more importantly, for your methodology, please examine the methodology that we have used in the books for our pilots, because we reasoned that it is much better, for many reasons, to give a smaller amount to individuals rather than to any one individual for the whole household. You alter the dynamics, the power structures, the individual decision making and the capacities. And, for example, the elderly and the disabled then have their own money, which gives them a more important role. So I strongly advise you to reconsider your methodology. I think it's a very interesting, laudable experiment, so don't get me wrong, but I think the methodology must be worked out. Thank you.
Okay. There was two questions. One is on the gender perspective. Maybe you want to take this one and
Sure.
shift also.
So, I'm just 2 points. One is that what I understood from you, Sanjana, about breaking away from the male breadwinner model. I think the point is also that already women are breadwinners. It's just that they're not recognized. This is not recognized, and through basic income, through the study, what I learned was that it gives them that recognition, and it changes the gender dynamics and balance in the family towards more gender equity. The second thing that I understood was that more money going into women's hands boosts her work and her economic activity, particularly farming. And we know that farming is particularly a female activity. Our nation's farmers are women, and it gives them greater recognition of that. Many of them said they were able to buy seeds and begin to cultivate vegetables and so on. But I don't know, maybe there are others who were directly involved in the study who'd like to add.
There was a larger question, your question, huh? In terms of, can you be from this? Because, okay.
I just want to add to what Miraiben has already said. I think some of these shifts in the decision making or the gender question, they don't happen in a most obvious and dramatic way. The shifts happen in a very subtle ways. And one of the parts of the model is individual entitlement. I think the social solidarity effect that I spoke about in the presentation, it's an effect where there is the individual entitlement makes that individual, whether that individual explicitly asks for that share or articulates or not, there is a psychological component of that entitlement. So you feel that it is my money that has gone into that seed. It is my money, what was entitled to me, that has gone into buying a pump or buying an asset. So that entitlement, because there is an entitlement, there is also a need of the head of the household of a consensus-seeking behavior. So there is a moral compulsion to seek consensus within the family. So these happen in a very subtle way within the family, and those, I think, eventually lead to the big change of the gender equity. So that's the one thing I wanted to add.
Sorry, Luke, can I just say one thing? Sorry, it wasn't a question, but I forgot to mention that when I went to Radhaben's village, Kodakhud, well after the study had stopped, what was interesting was that about 91 households, women had taken policies for insurance for the first time. So this was something really new, and we're speaking about extending financial services from their income. This is actually more than we see usually in most villages. So not only had they insured their entire families, they themselves were policy holders. So speaking of, empowering women and increasing their security, I think this was a very, very surprising and new thing.
There was also a broader question about what we could coin as inclusive growth and the choice being made by government in terms of the population that are more in need, and it was also targeting the elder. Maybe you want to take that?
Actually, your question, if you look at the finance bill and if you look at the budget, just go to table 12, table 13 of which is what we call as revenue forgone. So every year the government of India almost gives up about 2% of the GDP in revenue forgone. Just watch the tables. These are actually sops to the corporate sector, which of course the other Rahul was debating about. So actually this is where the government loses money, willingly and voluntarily. So actually, if you look at the inequality question, this revenue forgone goes to subsidize the top 1% of our population, while they leave the bottom completely out of it. So this is one area. The second area is there are a lot of studies. Of course, there's one study by Professor Rajan from CDS Trivandrum, which talks about whenever pensions was given to older people, they did not spend it entirely on themselves. Some of them, the food grains were bought for the entire family. Lot of expenditure was for the complete family and not for just the older persons. There might have been one or two instances where the older person may have smoked a few BDs extra or some alcohol on the sly, but those are all passing instances. So you can read that paper. I can forward you the paper if you wish to. And we have looked at the economic question, and even professors from JNU have looked at it, and we have said there is enough money with Government of India to pay for a universal pension. So there are studies by Prakash Jha, then not Praveen Jha, by Amitabh Kundu, etc., which is subsidizing the question. But what is needed is political will. And actually that political will is something which you'll have to sort out. So our position on this is we'll have to press for the political will. And that can only be done by street campaigns, by rallying. I saw, of course, the Seva people also carrying a Padayatra. I think you should carry a Padayatra right in Jantar Mantar or go and get on to the parliament. So that is the only way we can get political will. There is no other way. And the other question you had is, actually the government has a program for healthcare of the elderly. It's called the National Program for Healthcare of the Elderly. Unfortunately, this was to create geriatric healthcare infrastructure in the districts, in the rural areas. And our experience is out of the 630 districts, this program has only reached 96 districts. And this was the answer by the health minister on the floor of the House in Parliament, that we have only managed to reach 96 districts. In how many years? In 8 years. In 8 years, they managed to reach 96 districts. So if they have to reach 636, they will take another 20 years to reach 630 districts if they go at this pace. Again, this requires, it is not, there is budgetary support, but implementation is a complete failure. So that is why we feel that if universal income or universal pension goes, people will go and search out their own hospitals where they can get treatment, where they can do it. So, and people will do it. That is the assumption that we are making.
So we require about 45 lakhs to do this pilot in Chamaria. And out of this, about 30 lakhs we've already raised. And this 30 lakhs is a mixture of some of our own money. The two co-founders have put in some money. And then a lot of our friends are actually helping us with supporting either one family or two families. So including our friend Matthew is helping us. And I must say that, you know, what I found, I mean, I've raised money for my non-profit work, but what I found amazing in when I was raising money from friends and family for cash relief is we were just sending people the mails about this idea that we want to have an experiment. We will give money to the poor families, and this is how the money will be, you know, used by them and all of that. And we didn't really ask for money. And people actually wrote back to us and said, you know, I would like to support one family or two families. So that's so we are still short of, you know, 15 lakhs. So this is also my pitch here. You can, anybody who wants to contribute some money to us, we'll give you an ATG 12A and all the bells and whistles with it. So yeah, please do. And the idea is that, you see, I think that just doing one pilot on basic income or cash transfer or wealth transfer, or you call it whatever, is not going to be enough for to convince people, you know, whatever we were discussing in the political economy, to kind of go ahead and do this. We need to do multiple pilots. We need to randomize a lot of things. We need to do it in different geographical locations. So our hope and wish is that after this pilot, we will be able to go to some more people, maybe some institutional donors and investors and high net worth individuals, and convince them to also invest in a few more pilots, so that we can build a strong body of knowledge and some good advocacy material to then convince people who have regular income to give everybody a regular income. So that's the idea.
Okay. Thank you very much. I think we are going to close the session. Thank you for all the speakers. Very well done. Over to the organizers. For the next step.
Thank you very much, Mr. Louis George Arsenault, and I think it was very well organized session, and also I think you closed well on time. I don't know if there is tea outside. There is tea. Please have your tea on one condition, that you'll come back tomorrow. Okay, thank you very much for staying here the whole day, and I think thank you again. See you tomorrow.